Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about penetration testing. What is penetration testing? Penetration testing is nothing but it's first to understand about it. Obviously, I have to tell you about the normal testing. Normal testing tests your application functionality. It tells like how many users can actually access your application and what kind of a capability your application has. If there is any kind of a exception while accessing your application. So these are some of the testings which you normally do with a testing engineer. So they check the functionality, they check the stability, scalability of your application, all those things. What is penetration testing? Penetration testing is basically like to penetrate under something. Like for example, when you design a gun, right? So you take the gun and you shoot the gun. So the testing on the gun would be about whether the gun works properly, or the trigger is working properly, the safety is working properly. So those are some aspects to it. The testing of the holistic gun. But then when you talk about penetration of the gun, so you actually shoot the gun and see how much penetration it does to armor, right? So when you put an armor in front of the body, the gun has to penetrate the armor. So likewise, the armor is nothing but shield, which is, which you have towards your on-premise or your cloud services, right? There's a shield. Okay, so the shield which prevents the attacker from attacking you. Okay, so what is the use of penetration testing? The penetration testing in a case of a gun situation, right? So it is used to see if this gun penetrates the body armor. So if it penetrates the body armor is weak, and then they need to reconstruct the body armor. So which means that they need to come up with a stronger body armor which can stop the penetration of a bullet, right? The similar thing is over here. So we do a testing on our infrastructure ourselves, and we try to hack our website and look at the vulnerabilities it has. Okay, so it's like you can also call it that ethical hacking. So wherein which you ethically hack your site to test how much can be penetrated by any of the hackers using the current situations and scenarios of hacking. So with the penetration testing, that's what it is. And here there are some pre-authorized penetration testing which can be done for the services. There are prohibited services from the penetration testing without any proper approval. And even with approval or without approval, there are certain things cannot be done as part of AWS. So that's something we are going to understand in this session. So firstly, we will see what can be pre-authorized and can be done penetration testing of those services. So EC2 instances, including NAT gateways and Elastic Load Balancer, RDS services, just relational database services, CloudFront, Aurora, API Gateway, Lambda, Lightsail, Elastic Beanstalk. So some of the functions you've not seen so far, so that's all right. So you can actually hold on to get more information about these services which you have not seen so far later point of time, because we're going to cover all the services. And what are the activities that's not allowed, even part of penetration testing, which is allowed for the services. So even for the allowed services, you cannot do these activities. DNS zone walking via Amazon Route 53, denial of service attack, or distributed denial or simulated denial of service attack. So either of this cannot be allowed. Port flooding, protocol flooding, request flooding attacks is not possible. And you have the testing any AWS services not mentioned in the pre-approved list, and automated testing that could potentially harm other customer users, the other AWS customers. So these are something which is not allowed, even though it is on the pre-approved list of services. And what other services is prohibited from doing this penetration testing? So without prior approval, obviously that means that you have to go and get a prior approval from AWS about these services to be done penetration testing. So one is like Route 53, and then CloudFront, S3 services, simple email services, SQS, SNS, and MSK, which is your Kafka. Some of the services, of course, you have not seen so far in terms of your understanding, but we will be looking at it later point of time. But these are services prohibited from penetration testing, and you can do it when you have prior approval for that. So that's pretty much what I want to share with you on this video. But before that, right? So there are just different stages to penetration testing. So we'll just complete with that. As I told you before, do remember that reconnaissance is like the first step towards it, where you actually go and check your estate for your scanning your port numbers and all the vulnerable targets, and then exploiting these services using an ethical hacker or someone who is specialized in all these attacks, which is possible for any kind of internet facing services, and then fixing those issues and vulnerabilities, which is part of your application, and making sure that you enable a WAF, which is a web application firewall, and as well as the AWS standard shield is already enabled, so you don't really have to worry about enabling the shield standard. But if you want to go for advanced, you just have to look at it. So if your website is prone, we have already discussed about this. I don't want to discuss it again, but if your website is prone for attack, so it's always recommended to go for advanced. So that's something I'm going to suggest. Thank you again for your time and patience. I think pretty much we covered what is penetration testing. Unfortunately, there's no hands-on to it because we don't have tools, and it's just not even part of your certification to be actually doing any kind of hands-on towards penetration testing, because this is outside our scope of AWS itself. Thank you again for your time and patience. I will see you on the next video.